Hello, everyone across the globe. Today is a very, very special day, and it's 1 year since many of us met last time. It is special from many different perspectives, and I would like to first of all welcome up on stage our CEO of Hitachi ABB Power Grids, Claudio Facchin.
Thank you, Therese. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining. Before we start this celebration and this event today, there is a very sad news that we have to share with all of you, and I will hand over to Higashihara-san, our CEO and Executive Chairman of Hitachi Group, to share some thoughts about the sad news of Nakanishi-san passing away just recently. Higashihara-san, over to you.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Claudio. As Claudio mentioned, Mr. Nakanishi, Chairman Emeritus of Hitachi Limited, who was battling his illness, has passed away on June 27th. Mr. Nakanishi was appointed president in 2010 when Hitachi was recovering from the financial crisis. He devoted himself fully, demonstrating outstanding leadership to get Hitachi back on the growth track, building the foundation for growth. In 2010, President Nakanishi visited the ABB head office, marking the start of the collaboration between Hitachi and ABB that led to the creation of Hitachi ABB Power Grid. When Mr. Nakanishi and I spoke about this anniversary recently, Mr. Nakanishi told me that he would like to express his sincere appreciation to everyone at Hitachi ABB Power Grids for your determined effort over this past year. I would like to take this opportunity to thank him for his unwavering effort through his career and send my condolences to his family. Now let's start the celebration. Back to you, Claudio.
And
okay.
Let's then start the event and look forward, but also look a bit what we have achieved in the last 12 months.
Now, Claudio, I know that you always talk about how we're stronger, smarter, and greener as a team, and that we really become stronger as we face all these challenges. And you brought something special with you today.
Indeed. So, first of all, if the slides will come up, a big thank you to everyone. A big thank you to everyone for contributing during unprecedented times. We've been, in the last 12 months, living sort of new life, all of us. And I think it's also a moment for us to recognize and acknowledge all the efforts that the teams around the world, the team here in Zurich with us, in Tokyo, and around the world, on staying close to our customers, working together with our partners, and collaborating jointly with all of us.
And Claudio, we have created these moments around the world. We have so many people that are really fighting every day together, also supported with their families. So we have a special video to show these moments.
Let's start then with the video, and then we will come back with some more background on that.
Remember these faces? They are our people, extraordinary people, determined, passionate, committed, caring. They've shared their inspiring stories of resilience, invention, team spirit, and energy. Each story shaping our story, one of diversity, collaboration, innovation, passion, and purpose. Our people are shaping the story of the energy transition, connecting across borders and time zones, bringing reliable and sustainable energy to mega-cities and to far-away communities, supporting mission-critical infrastructure with pioneering breakthroughs and world firsts, and creating game-changing solutions like Econic and transformers for floating offshore projects, electrifying transportation, industry, and building sectors, enabled by digitalization. Teaming up in sustainable partnerships, contributing insight and intelligence with heart and soul. It takes extraordinary people to solve this challenge of our lifetime. Today, we say thank you to all of our people. We're excited about the future and together making the stories that are yet to be told.
So, a big thank you. A big thank you to everyone out there. Certainly, the diversity that we have in this team, the support from both Hitachi and ABB has helped us in going through and navigating these difficult times. And I'm certainly proud, and I'm sure that all of you share the same view, that we're coming out after this difficult time as a stronger team, also because we are putting more attention, more emphasis to diversity and inclusion. But before we move on, unless I was expecting to see some slides, but never mind, the COVID pandemic. I would like to give a special thank you to the front line team, to the people that have spent the time, despite all the challenges, with the customers, making sure that we would continue to provide the services, that we would continue to provide the products to mission-critical infrastructure. Also, a very special thank you to all our workers in the factories and also in the engineering centers around the world that took with determination and also with a lot of passion their commitment to support not only our customers, not only the business, but also society, precisely delivering these services, products to all our customers around the world. But instead of spending more time on words, let's take a few minutes to look at from a visual perspective what this meant for us in the past 12 months. Once again, thank you to all of you for the great contribution. And now, let me welcome and introduce a great participation that we have for this first 12 months of our joint venture. And without further ado, I would like to introduce the team in Tokyo, our Executive Chairman and CEO, Higashihara-san, together with Kojima-san, newly appointed President and CEO of Hitachi. And also great pleasure to have from Singapore joining with us Peter Voser, Chairman of ABB. And of course, together with the team in Tokyo, our Chairman of the joint venture and Executive Vice President of Hitachi, Nishino-san. And then of course, with us here in Zurich, representing the board, Frank Duggan, and I'm sure that many of the other board members of the joint venture are also joining virtually, our executive team and the team based in Zurich from Hitachi. Thank you to all, and now with further ado, over to Higashihara-san.
Congratulations on the first anniversary of the establishment of the Hitachi ABB Power Grids. Although we must hold this ceremony online, I'm truly happy to be able to celebrate this first anniversary with Hitachi ABB Power Grid employees around the world. I would also like to thank you, Chairman Peter Voser, and other ABB executives for joining us today. As announced on May 12th, I have been appointed Executive Chairman and CEO, and Dr. Kojima has been appointed President and COO. Dr. Kojima joined Hitachi as a researcher in the IT field and has a deep knowledge of digital technologies. He played a central role in the launch of the Lumada in 2016 and laid the foundations for Hitachi's current digital business. In recent years, he has transformed a wide range of business fields as head of the Smart Life sector and has strengthened Hitachi's competitiveness in that sector. I am confident that Dr. Kojima is the ideal person to undertake the role of the president and COO. To ensure Hitachi's growth in the digital field, and please give him your full support. Looking back on the past year, even under the challenges of the COVID-19, I believe that Hitachi has been able to make significant advances toward our goal of becoming a global leader in social innovation business. The establishment of the Hitachi ABB Power Grids is one of them. And I feel that we have put in place a strong framework for becoming a global leader. For example, with the acquisition of the Global Logic, which will enable us to expand Lumada business worldwide. I would like to thank everyone at the Hitachi ABB Power Grids for implementing a variety of the valuable reforms, even through a pandemic. In the message that I sent to you all 1 year ago, I said that I want to combine the global #1 power grid business with Hitachi's digital technologies and grow Hitachi ABB Power Grids into a company that contribute to resolving energy-related issues on a global scale. My determination to achieve this goal is now stronger than ever. And I believe that we have even more opportunity now to make this a reality. I also feel that my determination to achieve this goal is in line with Hitachi's mission to contribute to society through the development of the superior original technology and products. By demonstrating harmony, sincerity, and pioneering spirit, let us all work together as one Hitachi to create a sustainable society. Let's power good together. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your very strong and clear words and support, Higashihara-san. And now over to Kojima-san back in Tokyo.
Congratulations on your first year anniversary. I've not yet had the pleasure of meeting some of you, but I'm Keiji Kojima and assumed the role of President and COO of Hitachi as of June 23rd. I very much wanted to attend today's first year celebration with all of you in person, but please allow me to offer this message today online. First of all, let me introduce myself. I joined Hitachi in 1982. At first, I worked in research on accelerating databases at the Central Research Laboratory. After that, I spent some time working and doing research in the United States. In year 2000, I was in charge of developing data storage systems. And 2016 was an impressive year for me. I took leadership of the launch of Lumada as CEO of the Services and Platform Business Unit. Since 2019, as head of the Smart Life sector, I worked to strengthen the automotive parts business and the home appliance business through the establishment of the joint ventures. I've also been focusing on launching the Lumada business in the Smart Life sector. Looking back, I think I've spent all of my time in creating value from data. Moving forward, I'll continue my unwavering effort to further accelerate the use of Lumada throughout Hitachi Group. And I'd like to focus on leveraging data and technology to deliver new value to customers and society. The objective in establishing Hitachi ABB Power Grids was to achieve dramatic business growth and contribute to building a carbon-neutral society by combining the world's #1 power grid business with Hitachi's digital technologies. One more important object is to develop the global operating platform of Hitachi ABB Power Grids into common platform for the Hitachi Group by introducing this global operating platform. The entire Hitachi Group can be transformed into a global company. I'm aware that these activities have already begun. So, moving forward, I'd like to further accelerate these activities, achieve further growth at Hitachi ABB Power Grids, and evolve all of Hitachi into a global company. I've not yet had the opportunity to work directly with many of you, but I've heard from both Mr. Higashihara and Dr. Nishino that Hitachi ABB Power Grids has outstanding talent and management platforms. I look forward to working with all of you to transform Hitachi into a global leader. As Mr. Higashihara mentioned, Hitachi's mission since its establishment has been to contribute to society through the development of superior original technology and products. Now, 111 years later, we have entered an era in which digital technologies are bringing about rapid and dramatic changes to the world. I believe that Hitachi's mission in this era is to contribute to people's happiness by using data and technologies to bring about innovations in social infrastructures through our social innovation business. We gather talent from around the world that emphasizes this mission to talk extensively about this idea and to make it reality. I want Hitachi to be an even more open and dynamic company. I'll devote my full energy to creating this kind of company together with the highly diverse talent at Hitachi ABB Power Grids. I'm truly delighted that one of my first duties since being appointed as president is to celebrate the first anniversary with all of you. In closing, on behalf of Hitachi, I'd like to ask Chairman Peter Bother and all of the ABB executives in attendance today for their invaluable assistance and support of both Hitachi ABB Power Grids and Hitachi in the future as well. I'd like to thank Tim Meyer-Jurgens, COO from TenneT, and Laura Kotzi, Chief Energy Modeler from IEA, for joining us to provide their perspectives and look forward to our continued relationship. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kojima-san, and a great message, also great passion. Now, over to Peter Voser, who is joining us virtually from Singapore. Peter, over to you.
Thank you, Claudio. Good afternoon or good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen from Singapore. Before I touch on the one-year anniversary of our joint venture I would like to take the opportunity to also say a few words about Nakanishi-san, a dear colleague and friend. I'm honored to say that I was able to get to know and work alongside him during the lead up to the launch of our joint ventures 12 months ago, sharing the same vision and set of values belonging to our two great companies. Furthermore, we also serve together in various international organizations, helping to further promote global collaboration, trade, and social development. It has always been a great collaboration, and I'm very thankful that ABB and Hitachi had the courage to move in this direction. His visionary leadership and business acumen not only made this partnership possible, but also helped to shape Japan's industrial landscape at home and abroad. Now let me turn to this very important day, the anniversary. I'm very pleased to be able to join you, Higashihara-san, Kojima-san, Nishino-san, Claudio, and everyone participating today in marking this very special anniversary of our companies coming together. On a personal note, I was convinced when I came back to ABB that the chemistry between our two companies was right, and that this joint venture would be an excellent fit. Both ABB and Hitachi come from startups and have a similar history. Innovation has always been key for both companies. Speaking of innovation, I would like to mention the NordLink interconnection from Norway to Germany that Tim Meyer-Jürgens, the CEO of TenneT, will talk about later today. It is a great example where an engineering challenge was solved through collaboration across borders, and this was critical in order to deliver the project and support the energy transition in Europe. Another challenge we all faced in the past year has obviously been the pandemic. Now let me say you managed to keep the business stable during what was an unprecedented year. I want to extend my thanks to the Hitachi executives and the leadership and management that steered the organization and provided support through very challenging times. Last year, Dr. Fatih Birol participated in the opening event and talked about the importance of power grids. The International Energy Agency has consistently reinforced the importance of the energy transition and the urgency to take actions to reach the ambitious net zero target. More than ever, the world needs innovative solutions to address energy needs as the population is growing. Many of you know that I grew up in an ABB family, and I have an in-depth understanding of what is needed to accelerate the energy transition and foster a more sustainable energy future. The integration of the two great companies that formed this joint venture 1 year ago, and the opportunity ahead with further integration of both people and cultures, can play a vital role in speeding up the energy transition we are going through. Because this will require both talented people and innovative technologies. And we heard from Kojima-san that he asked about the help, the advice, and the collaboration from ABB management, and I can tell you, Kojima-san, you have that from my side quite clearly, and my colleagues at ABB. So Hitachi ABB Power Grids is a great business already. It will be in the future as well, and it will be even a better business in the future. So thank you. I wish you a great day. And with that, now back to Zurich, to Claudio and the team in the studio.
Thank you very much, Peter, and look forward to continue seeing your support and the support of ABB going through this. Thank you, Higashihara-san. Thank you, Kojima-san, for your inspiring and forward-looking comments. Now, if I start with some of the comments that we just heard earlier. It is about energy, it is about our technology, but it is also about digitalization. And we all seen how that digitalization is important while we were collaborating, performing, working with our teams, with our partners, and with our customers to deliver throughout this pandemic. What is also very important and very clear, and we all lived it, that while the digitalization was a key enabler, there is no doubt that the trust that we've been able to manage building throughout this crisis and taking our collaboration to the next level among ourselves and with our customers. And all of that, I'm confident, will help us in taking us through the next stage of this energy transition, where I think by now we're all convinced and we should be advocating all those that are not yet there with us, understanding the essential steps that we need to take to accelerate this energy transition, and that the electricity is already today, and it will be even more so, the backbone of the entire energy system. When you look at what that means in terms of technology, in terms of innovation, in terms of endeavors, and in terms of efforts that we all jointly need to take. And when you also look at, I was mentioned earlier, the IEA Net Zero 2050 report makes it crystal clear that when it comes to accelerating the energy transition to deliver the net zero by 2050, we have to put more emphasis, more efforts, more investments, more talents, more resources to the grid. And you heard already saying some of those messages by Fatih Birol himself, the head of IEA, a year ago, and we will hear more later today also from Laura Cozzi, who is the chief energy modeler within IEA and been working together with many others to deliver this outstanding work and report. One thing that I still also want to mention is about collaboration. It's about collaboration across the industries and the stakeholders. And that goes without saying. We need not only the traditional players to go through this transition. We also need the oil and gas industry that can bring tremendous experience, expertise, scale, managing large, complex projects, bringing in the financials that are needed to drive these investments and to drive these large undertakings. We heard about Tim, COO of TenneT, one of the customers that took the first step to drive the energy transition in Europe. Took the challenge to integrate offshore, large-scale, renewable wind into the grid. We joined with them efforts many years ago, and we're now so pleased to share and listen also directly from him in the next panel session. What is it that it took, again, from a collaboration standpoint, not just technology, but also people together, trusting and working together to deliver an amazing accomplishment by putting into service, despite the COVID pandemic, this exceptional HVDC link that brings hydro power from Norway to Germany and offshore from Germany back to Norway. As I mentioned, the collaboration is with our customers, and also essential for us is to continue the collaboration that we have started with Hitachi, but also preserving the good learnings that we had together with ABB. And also ensuring that we as a team can also support, and Frank is here with us, driving that synergies between the two partners, Hitachi and ABB. It will take that extra effort for us to go through and accelerate, indeed, this transition. We also, during this pandemic, issue our Sustainability 2030 commitment. And what I want to share with you is, first of all, the great effort that everyone has put, the great contribution. This was as much as a top-down, a bottom-up work, and it was great to see the motivation of everyone that contributed, but also everyone that lived the launch of the Sustainability 2030. And what is also important is that we create a foundation. We created a basis for us to continue engage with our customers, with our partners, and adapt, enhance the initiatives that we have in that Sustainability 2030 to once again support also our customers and our society to go through that journey. And as a first step, really proud to see that we all took the commitment not too long ago to make a very important first step. It's a very important sign on the short term. We committed that by end of the fiscal year 2021, we'll be shifting all our operations into fossil-free electricity. And it's very important to send a signal that we cannot afford to wait to make big steps until 2030. We have to do it now. So thank you to all of you for supporting that. It's also really important for us to acknowledge the efforts and all the key elements of our technology. There is no doubt that with Hitachi, we will be able to become stronger when it comes to putting together the IT, the OT, leveraging the tremendous efforts and investments that Hitachi has done in the IoT platform with Lumada, with the team in Hitachi Vantara. We heard some words also encouraging from that point. Additional investments have just been put in place by Hitachi to further strengthen the global footprint and the global reach of that. But let's also not forget about the products. The energy platform that we bring in jointly with our transformers, with our switchgears, with our control systems, with our power quality, with the microgrids, with the HVDC. All of that will be an integral part of how we're going to drive this energy acceleration, and really look forward to see more of that innovation coming through. Now, I hope we're all on board, and I'm sure we are within this team. Let's also work together to bring everyone else that is not yet in the journey, that is not yet convinced that we have to all work together, joining forces for a sustainable energy future. But before we hand over to the next step, I hand over to Therese, who will also be here sharing with us some more news and images. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudio. And I'm sure that all of you here in the studio and also around the globe are seeing that it's a very different world, and we're trying to give you a flavor of that through the images you're seeing and through everyone sharing different perspectives. Now, you've heard around the NordLink project, and many of you might have heard glimpses of it, but we're actually going to give you a little bit more, as Tim also will tell us further details about the project later. So with that, let's roll the video.
How is our world transforming?
what makes electricity critical to a green recovery and essential for human progress. The rise of cross-border electricity trading is giving European consumers new access to renewable energy, which is a crucial part of Europe's carbon-neutral energy future. Interconnecting grids with Hitachi ABB Power Grid's leading HVDC technology is helping Europe build a strong electricity network to meet the needs of a rapidly changing power landscape in which grid electricity is increasingly generated by renewables. With the capacity to power millions of homes, NordLink is part of this plan, interconnecting the Norwegian and German energy markets for the first time and enabling the trade of electricity entirely generated from renewable resources. So when the wind blows and the sun shines, Germany exports clean power to Norway. But when there is little production of wind and solar energy, Norwegian hydropower can be transferred to Germany. Hitachi ABB Power Grid's commitment will help reduce greenhouse gases by millions of tons every year. By connecting energy markets to one another, our HVDC technology is significantly helping the EU achieve its climate goals and provide a secure power supply for Europeans. Together with our customers and partners, Hitachi ABB Power Grid's HVDC technology is pioneering future power systems that are reliable, flexible, sustainable, and affordable to power progress for generations to come.
Such an impressive project. And if I had not been working with communications, I would absolutely have wanted to be an engineer working on the NordLink project. With that, let's move into something that is really, really interesting, exciting, emotional. And we're going to go around the world. And we're going to start in Singapore. We're going to move to Japan and get back to the studio here in Zurich. But without further ado, I know that, Peter, you're getting ready in Singapore, and I would like to start this special moment with getting everyone ready, also in Tokyo and live through all the links. First of all, Peter, please go ahead.
I'm personally very passionate about the energy transition, and it is with great pleasure that I today hold this prism in my hand as a symbolic key. This key will open the door to the next step of the joint venture journey.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Boser. This is to our future.
Great. Fantastic moment, as it was said, also emotional for all of us. Hitachi Energy. This is how we're going to go ourselves, positioning ourselves to continue powering good for a sustainable energy future, which is, as you all know, our purpose. And we're going to do this together, in collaboration, in co-creation with our customers, with our partners. And we will take the challenges to solve what needs to be done to deliver that sustainable future. It will take leading industry experience, deep domain expertise and knowledge, and our pioneering technologies. It will also take passion, commitment, and energy. Hitachi Energy will bring that energy to us. Thank you to all.
The ability to transmit electricity has defined our society for over a century. And today, ensuring access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy underpins all of our daily life. The voltage and power in electricity transmission have always increased, but the 1.1 million volt Changji-Guquan link in China, a project of State Grid of China, was an extraordinary leap.
At the time when State Grid decided that this technology should be developed, it took a while for the pure enormity of the challenge to sink in. The 1100 kilovolt project is a step up in voltage by 30% and a step up in transmission power by 50% compared to the projects in operation. For each and every single component, we have redeveloped the technology. That is a change which takes place at maybe once per generation.
With State Grid of China leading the overall project design, management and site construction, the world record technologies such as the 800-ton converter transformers and DC capacitor banks, as well as system design expertise, were supplied for the project by Hitachi ABB Power Grids. And on December 31, 2018, full power was transmitted for the first time at the world record 1100 kilovolts, benefiting up to 12 million people and saving millions of tons of CO2 emissions. One more step towards a shared, sustainable future. The Changji-Guquan link shows it's possible to transmit power more than 3,000 kilometers in a safe and reliable way. Now, even cross-continental interconnections are possible, paving the way to endless opportunities for the future of power transmission. And the world.
Great and exciting, isn't it? I hope you are as excited as I am, and hopefully that for those who were not able to join this call can watch the recording. We have more to share. We will give you more energy during this event. And now we have come to the point where we're going to take a break. So we're going to take a break for 15 minutes, and we will reconvene 5 minutes past the hour. So in European time, that would be 1:05. So we will see you back again in 15 minutes, and you get a chance to take a small break and fill up coffee, water, or then re-energize until we see you again shortly. Thank you, everyone.
Electricity. Like the air we breathe, it's invisible, but it is essential to life. We count on it to be there. It's the backbone of our lives and will be the backbone of our entire energy system. In the next 30 years, we'll consume more than double what we use today. By 2050, we will be sharing our planet with 2.5 billion more people. We all want the same thing, to live and prosper together, balancing our social, environmental, and economic needs. We want planet Earth, our home, to be better than today, for our children and for our children's children. Climate change has emerged as the challenge of our time, and these are extraordinary times, which call for urgent, collective action. The energy transition is vital for a sustainable future, a carbon-neutral future, and electricity generated from renewable power sources is our gateway. Making this possible would require the accelerated shift from fossil-based to renewable power generation, the growing electrification of transportation, industry, and building sectors, and the introduction of sustainable energy carriers, which are complementary to direct electrification, and all enabled by digitalization from a single device to the entire system. Together, with customers and partners, we are shaping the world's electricity backbone. From the most remote island communities to intense megacities, we are getting electricity to where it is needed. We are helping to close the gap for the 1 billion people without reliable access to electricity. We are proud to be powering a sustainable society towards a carbon-neutral future, making everyday life a little better for today's generation and those to come.
Today, with sustainability at the top of the global agenda, we must all work together to provide clean power solutions for our society. Although diesel buses are easy to operate and quick to refuel, they come at a huge environmental cost. It's time to find a smarter and greener solution. Electric buses enable zero emissions transport, but there are not enough to cope with growing demand. We need more, and fast. While initial pilots only used a small number of buses, many cities are now looking at the mass electrification of their bus fleets. However, new technology solutions are required to enable an effective deployment of charging infrastructure to serve mass electrification of e-mobility. At Hitachi ABB Power Grids, we've developed an innovative grid-to-plug charging system that moves e-buses from niche to mainstream. Our groundbreaking Grid eMotion fleet is based on DC system technology. It is designed to fit into any parking area and connect all necessary charging points seamlessly to the grid. Not only does it provide a 60% space reduction compared to a conventional AC connection, it also requires 40% less cabling. It harnesses renewable energy through grid integration, smart mobility, and the digital energy management system. Easily configurable modules can be conveniently distributed around the site, and a software-based asset management system provides accurate insights into the fleet operation and maintenance needs. Grid eMotion Fleet is a game changer for anyone managing public transport and commercial EV fleets around the world. More importantly, it will lead to cleaner air and ensure the quality of life we all deserve.
The power grid is constantly evolving. Maintaining its reliability and flexibility is a continuous challenge. Through innovative high-voltage service, Hitachi ABB Power Grids is supporting customers to keep the power flowing and the lights on. offers service solutions that help enhance long-term equipment reliability with the latest technology while minimizing the environmental impact. Customers benefit from our 4 key service pillars: rapid response, operational excellence, performance improvement, and life cycle management. Our expertise covers a wide high-voltage service portfolio, including upgrades, retrofits, spares, replacement, extension, and overhaul solutions. We continue to digitalize our service portfolio to deliver safe and reliable lifecycle support, creating predictive maintenance strategies to manage the health of our customers' assets. With high-voltage service experts around the globe, we are helping our customers to build and maintain sustainable assets to enable stronger, smarter, and greener grids. Hitachi ABB Power Grids, your reliable and trusted partner for high-voltage service.
What defines us as people is what we do every day together. Since 1900, innovation has been in focus in Ludvika, Sweden. For generations of world-class engineering, we have created a heritage to be proud of. We create the art of energy. Through our time of existence, we have innovated the most capable and sustainable high-voltage solutions with the most advanced technology of today, and we are driven by what comes next. We always want to be in the front line of development. Today, we connect our world from where we are to what we want to be. As a team, we are transforming, adapting to find pioneering technology for a better world to live in, making it possible to see a bright and sustainable future for upcoming generations. One team, 50 different nationalities. Together, we strive for one goal: powering good for sustainable energy. Energy solutions that contribute to affordable and clean energy towards the future. We are doing it today and tomorrow. From this spot on the Earth, we are creating the future now. We have done it during 120 years with our people in our heart. And we are always going above and beyond. By adding innovation, purpose, and knowledge to our global actions, we will still be leading the development of sustainable energy for years to come. Hitachi ABB.
The ability to transmit electricity has defined our society for over a century. And today, ensuring access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy underpins all of our daily life. The voltage and power in electricity transmission have always increased, but the 1.1 million volt Changji-Guquan link in China, a project of State Grid of China, was an extraordinary leap.
At the time when State Grid decided that this technology should be developed, it took a while for the pure enormity of the challenge to sink in. The 1100 kilovolt project is a step up in voltage by 30% and a step up in transmission power by 50% compared to the projects in operation. For each and every single component, we have redeveloped the technology. That is a change which takes place at maybe once per generation.
With State Grid of China leading the overall project design, management and site construction, the world record technologies such as the 800-ton converter transformers and DC capacitor banks, as well as system design expertise, were supplied for the project by Hitachi ABB Power Grids. And on December 31st, 2018, full power was transmitted for the first time at the world record 1100 kilovolts, benefiting up to 12 million people and saving millions of tons of CO2 emissions. One more step towards a shared, sustainable future. The Changji-Guquan link shows it's possible to transmit power more than 3,000 kilometers in a safe and reliable way. Now, even cross-continental interconnections are possible. paving the way to endless opportunities for the future of power transmission and the world.
Electricity. Like the air we breathe, it's invisible, but it is essential to life. We count on it to be there. It's the backbone of our lives and will be the backbone of our entire energy system. In the next 30 years, we'll consume more than double what we use today. By 2050, we will be sharing our planet with 2.5 billion more people. We all want the same thing, to live and prosper together, balancing our social, environmental, and economic needs. We want planet Earth, our home, to be better than today, for our children and for our children's children. Climate change has emerged as the challenge of our time, and these are extraordinary times, which call for urgent, collective action. The energy transition is vital for a sustainable future, a carbon-neutral future, and electricity generated from renewable power sources is our gateway. Making this possible would require the accelerated shift from fossil-based to renewable power generation, the growing electrification of transportation, industry, and building sectors, and the introduction of sustainable energy carriers, which are complementary to direct electrification, and all enabled by digitalization from a single device to the entire system. Together, with customers and partners, we are shaping the world's electricity backbone. From the most remote island communities to intense megacities, we are getting electricity to where it is needed. We are helping to close the gap for the 1 billion people without reliable access to electricity. We are proud to be powering a sustainable society towards a carbon-neutral future, making everyday life a little better for today's generation and those to come.
Today, with sustainability at the top of the global agenda, we must all work together to provide clean power solutions for our society. Although diesel buses are easy to operate and quick to refuel, they come at a huge environmental cost. It's time to find a smarter and greener solution. Electric buses enable zero emissions transport, but there are not enough to cope with growing demand. We need more, and fast. While initial pilots only used a small number of buses, many cities are now looking at the mass electrification of their bus fleets. However, new technology solutions are required to enable an effective deployment of charging infrastructure to serve mass electrification of e-mobility. At Hitachi ABB Power Grids, we've developed an innovative grid-to-plug charging system that moves e-buses from niche to mainstream. Our groundbreaking Grid eMotion fleet is based on DC system technology. It is designed to fit into any parking area and connect all necessary charging points seamlessly to the grid. Not only does it provide a 60% space reduction compared to a conventional AC connection, it also requires 40% less cabling. It harnesses renewable energy through grid integration, smart mobility, and the digital energy management system. Easily configurable modules can be conveniently distributed around the site, and a software-based asset management system provides accurate insights into the fleet operation and maintenance needs. Grid eMotion Fleet is a game changer for anyone managing public transport and commercial EV fleets around the world. More importantly, it will lead to cleaner air and ensure the quality of life we all deserve.
Welcome back, everyone. And hopefully you've now been able to also grab a fruit or a cup of coffee or a glass of water wherever you are around the world. We have a few more things we would like to share with you. We were finishing the first part and we showed Hitachi Energy. And this is what we would like to share further information about. It is something that is visible today. We're going to have a press release going out within the next 11 minutes in 25 languages. And then this will come in effect in October 2021. So we're announcing globally today, but October is when the change will take place. And when you will see the global website, you will see our social media channels, and you will see the change appear with then Hitachi Energy. And this is super exciting. Right, Claudio?
Yes, thank you, Therese. And once again, Hitachi Energy will help us getting the energy that we need to put as a team together, as we mentioned, together with the passion. We're going to do this together with our customers. So as we did a year ago, looking at how to make sure that the establishment of this new joint venture would enable us to support even stronger our customers to go through the energy transition, to help them delivering on their challenges. Now, a year later, we're further strongly positioned. We know each other much better. And we will also communicate to our customers, to our partners, as we did a year ago, let's leverage jointly this moment, go out, reach out, and tell the story, what we've been achieving in the last 12 months together with them, and how we, together now with them as Hitachi Energy, support the next stage of this energy transition. Therese.
Thank you, Claudio. And now, of course, this is something that will take a little bit of time to transition. And we wanted to share this news today because that's, in COVID times, it is a bit more challenging. And we know that we need more preparation time. So this is why also the announcement is going live today, but the actual change is coming in October. Now, we have more things to share, of course, and we have a roundtable which is coming up with us. And we have Maxine Gavi, who is going to join us on stage. And she will also be here with external guest speakers and also our Chief Technology Officer. Claudio, is there anything else you would like to add before we hand over to Maxine?
I just look forward, and I want everyone out there joining us now in this great panel session where we will hear a lot of different perspectives. Let's get together. We will also have our chairman, Executive Vice President Nishino-san, giving his perspective from Hitachi, but also from Japan, which is one of the key economies in the world that had committed also to this carbon neutrality. And then after that Q&A, we will hear a summary of the Net Zero 2050 from IEA, and all of that will fuel, again, our energy to go out and communicate to customers and partners how to support them in this journey. Thank you.
Hello, and a very, very warm welcome to all of our colleagues from across the globe. My name is Maxine Gavi. I'm responsible for the Grid Edge Solutions business, and today I'm delighted to be hosting a panel of internal and external experts on a very interesting topic of pathway towards the sustainable energy future. We will talk about this topic in the context of energy transition, which is really happening much faster and faster as we move forward. And with the importance of resilience, flexibility, sustainability, security, and safety. So these will all be very key topics that we will focus on, but we will also touch on technology, innovation, digital, policies, enabling business models, and see how all of these play a role. Are they really enablers, or are they hurdles we just really have to figure out how to cross? So with that, let me introduce our panelists. Tim, you have been mentioned quite a few times already today by many of our speakers. Tim Meyer-Jurgens, the COO of TenneT, who's a leading electricity transmission system operator with main activities in Netherlands and Germany. Prior to this role as the COO, Tim held several senior manager level positions within the company, and most recently was the senior manager for large projects offshore. Thanks, Tim, for joining us. And joining us from Japan is Toshikazu Nishino-san. Welcome. Our Executive Vice President and Executive Officer of Hitachi Group, and also the Chairman of the Board of the Hitachi ABB Power Grid since the inception of the joint venture 1 year ago today. And with me here in Zurich is Gerhard Salge, who is the CTO of Hitachi ABB Power Grids, and of course Gerhard has been holding the position of CTO for Power Grids since 2016. So welcome to all of you, and looking forward to have a very active dialogue during the next 45 minutes or so. Tim, I'd like to kick this off with you and ask you to give us a perspective of a transmission system operator on the sustainable energy future. What does this really mean to TenneT?
Yeah, thank you very much, Maxine, first of all, for having me here, and congratulations to your anniversary. I'm still gratefully looking back to the event of last year in Ludwika. It was one of the very rare events that took place physically, and it was very nice. So, yeah, talking about challenges, we talked about a lot about the pandemic already today, and we have seen the impact of the pandemic in the last year to our business. Nevertheless, this challenge, compared with the challenge we have ahead of us, is a very small one. So the real challenge will be the climate change. And there we can only be successful if we are all successful, because it's a global challenge we have. So it doesn't help if 1 or 2 countries are successful. We all have to be successful. And therefore we have to help each other. If we look at Europe, Europe is striving to be the first climate neutral continent worldwide, achieving this latest by 2050, and has published therefore the ideas of the Green Deal. And this is also very much determining our own agenda as a TSO. But the question is really how to get there. And maybe it's also good to look a little bit backwards. In Germany, we started with renewable energies more than 20 years ago. And I think the German Renewable Energy Act has been quite a success. Today, we have about 50% of the energy in our grids based on renewable power. Nevertheless, electricity is just 20% of our total energy consumption in Germany. So 80% are not electricity yet. And so far, these sectors haven't been as ambitious as maybe the electricity sector. So now we see that all the other sectors are starting also to think about how to become climate neutral. And the key for most of the sectors, is it mobility or industry, it doesn't matter. For most of them, it's electrification. So that means that all the efforts we have done over the last years to reach the 50%, it's just the first step if we look ahead and what is necessary. Because electricity, as you also rightfully described in your presentations earlier, will be the backbone of the energy transition, and especially power grids will be the backbone. So without power grids, it will not be possible to get there. So if we look at our power supply in Germany or in Europe in general, we are mainly depending on renewables like wind energy and solar power. And we have a little bit of hydropower in the far north in Scandinavia. So if we want really to reach our climate targets by renewable power, the only way out is to invest in offshore energy. And the North Sea is really a great spot to develop offshore wind energy. We started already 15 years ago, also together with Hitachi ABB. Meanwhile, we are operating as TSO 8.5 gigawatts of offshore connections. But this speed we have had in the last years will not be sufficient to get there. So the North Sea has to become the new powerhouse of Europe, providing the main power for the continent. So we see a potential of at least 180 gigawatts up to 300 gigawatts. And this is also the amount that we need to become climate neutral. So it's a huge challenge we have ahead of us, and we have to start. And one of the lighthouse projects you have mentioned already earlier, that is our NordLink interconnector, connecting the hydropower in Norway with offshore wind in Germany. And we are very proud that we could inaugurate this important project in time, in budget this year together with you. Because it's really showing what is necessary. And it's just a very small building block. We have to do much more. And I think, as I said already, the key will be offshore. So we are thinking about rolling out a kind of hub and spoke concept for the North Sea, combining offshore connections with interconnections, starting to build up a DC overlay grid in Europe. To get there, I think collaboration is key, because we cannot do it alone. Also, a company like Hitachi cannot do it alone. So we have to collaborate. It's not about competition. It's really helping each other to achieve these ambitious targets we have. And looking at HVDC, I think one of the key issues we see for the next years is to ensure that the different suppliers are able to collaborate and to ensure that these connections can be combined with each other. Because otherwise, we end up in a situation that will not be sufficient. So collaboration is really key for us on the technology, but also in delivering these projects. And also there, NordLink is a great example how the teams of Statnett, so the Norwegian TSO, our own team, and the team of Hitachi ABB, and also the cable supplier Nexans and NKT work together as one team. And without such a collaboration, we will not be successful. So all the technology, I think, that is solvable. And we have seen great examples also in your presentations today. We have some regulatory hurdles to overcome, but this is a political task, which from my perspective is also feasible. So key in the end is that we all go in the same direction and collaborate. And that's for me the most important part really to achieve our ambitious targets.
Great. Thank you, Tim. So Clearly, collaboration across the board with all the stakeholders. You mentioned also policies, and really everyone moving towards the same direction. Nishina-san, carrying on the same theme of sustainable energy future, can you share with us the vision that Hitachi and Hitachi ABB Power Grids have for the same goal, a sustainable future, energy future?
Yes, thank you, Maxine. Yeah, and thank you. Yeah, very exciting statement and for the collaboration. Yeah, so the vision is very important. But anyway, nowadays the reduction of the carbon and also the sustainability is very important. But it should be realized, such as decarbonization and also the improvement of the quality of life of the people. And so we must realize at the same time, simultaneously. So it's a responsibility of the technologies innovation, I believe. And so my understanding, so the vision is the create a sustainable future and contribute to society. But the major importance is how nicely deliver all of the people in the world, and also nice under the nice collaboration with the customer and operator. And this is my vision, but I think that our new president, Mr. Kojima mentioned, the very powerful tool is today the digital. The digital innovation, the speed is very fast comparing to the other kind of the technologies. And so they have nice combination, very sophisticated energy and high the voltage technologies and HVDC and the other kind of the technologies and with digital. And there is a very nice for the other customers. So anyway, it is our vision and how to deliver such a kind of nice result for the peoples all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Nishina-san. So my takeaway from that was to achieve the carbon neutral future. To actually achieve that, we need digital. It's a key component, but also our customers, certainly from the perspective of a Hitachi ABB Power Grids. Thanks very much for that. Gerhard, coming to you. We've seen already a lot of comments made today regarding the electrification of the future. The demand will continue to increase, double by 2050. And as the demand increases, so does the complexity of the system. But as we build this backbone of the future, which is electrification of the entire energy system, are we really doing it with the level of urgency that is required to truly achieve the targets that we have set forward? What's your take on that?
Yeah, that's really a key point, Maxine and everyone. It's undisputed totally that the importance is there, and really the world needs to collaborate on that one. But this level of urgency, and Tim touched it, it's really an additional component which comes in and which we need to accelerate. When we are looking into the timing, it's 2030 is the first target, 2050 is then the ultimate target, and then there are country by country also slightly different timelines, but that's roughly what we are talking about. And so when we see that there is a lot of R&D done at the moment, and that's fine, where we need new technologies and where we need to do something in the future, but that is something which will help us after the 2030. What we do now in order to really get to the 2030 targets, which are already very challenging, is that we need to invest and install what we can do today. That is really key, crucial, important, because otherwise we will not make the 2030, and then we will have no chance to make the 2050 afterwards. So what does it mean? It means really now to install all what we can do in terms of what Tim was also mentioning, the offshore power, the onshore renewable power, but then also building the grid infrastructure in order to do it, taking care of the power quality aspects, installing the necessary storage aspects, and so on. And we need to do that in the partnerships. And that's one key element which comes in addition to that. It was also highlighted many times already today. But what does it mean? Claudio mentioned the oil and gas industry already and how important it is to use their strengths, their capabilities, the competencies, also the financial power, the experience to execute projects around the world. That is a symbol of other industries also, where we need them on board. One other industry, for example, which is already making this challenge to an opportunity is the automotive industry, where they are investing heavily into the e-mobility. But we need to work even more than we do today with our partners and customers in other industries like steel, like cement industry, like mining, like chemistry, where they are the experts of the processes today, of how they do their business today, and how to transform that towards carbon neutrality using the electrification always as the backbone, as Tim was also saying. This is crucially important to manage the requirement of the urgency and the speed. And I'm sure we will hear a lot more from Laura in her presentation, how pressing urgent that really is these days.
Okay, so it's, we always focus on 2050, but you're saying 2030 milestone is really even far more critical because it's right around the corner. And we need to really build the foundation of this new system very heavily, very quickly by 2030 in order to be successful. But I also heard transformation of our partners, of the industries, and how they will have to evolve, such as the oil and gas industry, that they have to evolve in this transition so that collectively we can all move forward. So it is a lot of stakeholders that come into play. Great, thank you, Gerhard. Tim, I'd like to come back on a separate topic, very much related to you, that obviously an expert with the project Interlink that, the NordLink that you have done. And that's the interconnection across borders. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? And why is it so important that this is part of where we go in the future and our path towards future sustainability?
Yeah, so we started with interconnections already years ago, and we have currently quite a couple in operation to Norway, to Denmark, to the UK. And they are very important because we are transforming the whole energy transition from fossil fuels to renewables. But these renewables are not available anytime. So if we look at wind, for example, we have onshore wind about 1,500 to 2,000 hours a year. Offshore, we are talking about 4,500 hours. Solar is only 1,000 hours. So we have to ensure that energy is there anytime and how to do it. And interconnection is key to provide energy at any time, because we can connect larger areas with each other. So when we have wind in UK, it doesn't mean that we have wind in Germany and the other way around. So we can help each other. And we can also connect different sources with each other, like hydro and wind and solar. So that is why this interconnection is so important, and that's why we are pushing very much for it.
Okay, and something that you mentioned earlier regarding policies, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? What do you see in terms of policies that have to evolve in order to actually get us to these interconnected energy systems? What would you think some of the things and how the policymakers and other stakeholders should work together to help enable projects such as the NordLink?
Yeah, so what we see, especially in Europe, is that every state has its own rules and its own laws. And so far, we only see national approaches. There is not really a coordination between these different countries. And I think key is to overcome this, to agree on a joint framework of regulation, of market design, because always when we want to have a cross-border connection today, we end up in discussions who is paying for the infrastructure and who is benefiting. And with these discussions, yeah, we don't get there where we have to go, and especially not fast enough. So therefore, it's very important to agree on a common model that it doesn't matter who is paying and who is benefiting. So we all are benefiting. As I said at the beginning, we only get there if we all get there. So it doesn't matter in the end who's taking the efforts.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Tim. So Nishina-san, I'd like to come to you. Taking what Tim has said and the example of Europe, how would we take this and apply that to Japan in terms of the globally connected energy systems? What is happening there, and how do you view this?
Yes, thank you, Maxine. First of all, the interconnectors are still also very important even in Japan. And Japan consists of the 4 major islands. And so the island connection is interconnection. But it's a very special reason in Japanese case. The northern part and the southern part, the frequency is different. Northern part is 50, and the southern part is 60. So the frequency conversion is necessary if we try to link the north and south. But historically, the ABB technology is employed such the frequency conversion site. And nowadays, most of the business of the Hitachi ABB Power Grids business, and also including a Northern case, and the Japanese utility and regulator have a great interest in those areas. And even in Japan, the wind is also very booming. And actually speaking, till now, on the onshore case, and Hitachi is a top group of the share and wind turbine. But anyway, from now, the offshore is a major investment focus. And in that case, the very big the interconnector is necessary. Now the government planning to running the European case and start designing with such a future the grid the architecture in Japan. But anyway, I think Japan very advanced in the energy saving technologies, and also the use of the hydrogen. So the hydrogen and car and the bus, and also the hydrogen generation are now started. So anyway, I believe such a lesson learned, the exchange mutually is possible, and how to use the new energy source like hydrogen, and also learn the European history of the interconnectors establishment. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nishina-san. So Gerhard, you work with our customers across the globe on similar topics. Taking what Tim has said and what Nishina has said, how would you relate that to the other markets that we're actively participating in? What do you see in that space? And what are the commonalities between other regions in Japan and also Europe?
Yeah, that is of course one real fantastic opportunity we have as a global player, and then bringing not only the scope of technologies together, but also really this global reach. And we can really learn together with our customers and partners in all the countries, in all the regions, and learn about the building blocks and learn about how they put it together in the right way for the appropriate boundary conditions we have in that country. And then we can go and transport that across countries, across regions. And this is one of the key things, and Tim also mentioned it. We need to put really everybody into one boat, so to say, and do it as a world together. Learn as fast as possible from each other, from the good experiences, also from the possible mistakes which are happening, from bold investments, from small investments, and really putting that know-how together. And we can play really a unique role there because we bring both. We bring these global experience connecting the things, but we also bring the local presence and the know-how of all the countries together then with the full technology scope. We heard it today, it's the IT, it's the OT, it's the products, it's based on the largest installed base. We are bringing that together as Hitachi and Hitachi ABB Power Grids really to our customers in a collaboration with the customers, but also with our suppliers, with all the other stakeholders. We can also work with the governments, with the regulators, and create really this combination, this team, what we need in order to address this challenge. Because again, let me remind, 2030 is less than 3,000 days practically to go. And in our planning and execution times, which we are usually doing, this is a short time, a very short time. So this acceleration is a key topic, and collaboration is the only way how to accelerate.
Okay, thanks, Gerhard. Very, very interesting. And it's good to see some commonality, actually a lot of commonalities across the regions. And Nishina-san mentioned several different technologies. And Tim, I'd like to actually come back to you. Clearly, we know from the projects you've done, the role of offshore wind generation is very critical. But as other technologies were mentioned by Nishina-san, how do you see the role of these other technologies in the projects that you're doing and in the European interconnection?
Yeah, so we have several challenges. One I mentioned already, I see the need for a DC overlay grid. And that also gives hope if we are looking a little bit back. So we ordered our first HVDC converter just 15 years ago. It was an ABB converter, 400 megawatts, and the first one worldwide installed offshore. Just 2 weeks ago, I signed the order for our 20.
I think we may have lost Tim for the moment in the virtual world of today. It happens. So there, he's back. Tim?
I'm back. I'm sorry, I was kicked out. So I just said we just ordered our 29th converter. We developed together with our suppliers the standard from 400 megawatts to a 900 megawatt standard, and we will go now to 2 gigawatt offshore. But also the onshore grid is really changing now, and we see that all the system services we need as a TSO, they are going out of the market with the fossil plants. So we have the coal phase out in Germany, we have the nuclear phase out. So we have no rotating mass anymore in the grid, and we have to replace it. And we replace it more and more either by rotating phase shifters or by STATCOMs and other electronics. And also here we are very much depending on the development of the technology, and we have to come with new solutions. Also, if you see how we utilize our grid today compared with 10, 15 years ago, it's completely different, and their digitalization has really an important role to allow us, because the expansion of the grid is just too slow. That has also very much to do with acceptance in the public. So the people don't like to see lines and also wind turbines in their backyard. And that's a challenge, of course, and therefore digitalization is key for us to accelerate the utilization of the existing grid. So these are all the developments and the challenges that we are facing, but I think with our partners we are able to tackle those. So I'm very confident that we can do it.
Thank you. Very good to hear. You mentioned the topic of digitalization, and I know that's a topic very near and dear to Nishina-san's heart. So I'd like to ask you, Nishina-san, if you could elaborate on the role of digital in the energy transition, especially as we build scale and we add more complexity to this system.
Yeah, thank you for asking, Maxine. Yeah, so that you mentioned the digitalization is one of the very important. Today is one of the very important enabler. And but the reason is there are two reasons I believe. First one is as I mentioned earlier, the innovation speed of the digital is faster than compared to the other kind of technology's innovation speed, very high, and so we can enjoy such kind of fruit with the digital. One of the examples, the artificial intelligence, AI, and it is very powerful to understand the network nature and fluctuation, and also the change and the consuming side, the attitude. And so anyway, I think why the digital is so important, there's two reasons. First one is the data speed, the innovation of the data speed is very high compared to the other technology. The second one is nowadays, we must control the huge number of the components. In that case, so they are lesson learned, and also they are such a based on the human understanding is very limited, and in such case, so I believe utilization the digital is very powerful. Control many numbers of the components and number of the consuming, and also the very fluctuate the output of the renewable one. And so this is a reason why, and Hitachi is very focused on the digital and enabler on the key technologies for the expanding the value for the customer and also the society.
Great, thank you, Nishino-san. Gerhard, I'd like to come back to you. We've heard the voice of the customer, right? Tim told us technologies he needs, the things that are enablers, and Nishino-san talked about digital. And obviously that's also an area that as Hitachi ABB Power Grids we're very much focused on. So for our audience, which is our colleagues, our people across the world, how would you connect the dots? How are we positioned to really address the needs of the market and to our needs of our customers? How would you explain that to our audience?
Yeah, we really bring it together. And here we have from the component which we then digitize, like a transformer, like a switchgear. We bring it together into the control room with the protection and control. And Nishino-san mentioned the AI, and there will be more and more technology development towards higher level of autonomy. All that will come in adaptive protection and control systems with secure communication. And then we bring that together then into the AC grids. We heard about the overlaying DC grids, then where the HVDC meets then sometimes as an embedded system into the AC grid, sometimes as an own full DC grid, then the total system. And we have also heard from everybody specifically that the electricity is not only the backbone, but growing to become the backbone of the total energy system more and more. And we have the technologies really for connecting all those dots. And that makes our value proposition so special and so unique to bring that really across and here work with our customers and the partners to make that happen. And looking at the energy transition and hearing the heartbeat an hour ago, we couldn't be at a better place at a better point in time. This is exactly spot on what we are good at and what we will drive more and more for the sustainable energy future.
So when I look at it also from my perspective, from our businesses, and I think going towards what you were saying is that we know what's happening behind the utility meter. We know what's happening in front of the meter, how the interconnections are happening. And from our perspective, having a portfolio and bringing these two knowledge bases, the expertise together, we're actually well positioned to address the market, because you mentioned also the industrial side, the industrial players in the market. So clearly utilities are key players, but also so are the industrial players, stakeholders in this market, which will play a key role here. So Tim, I'd like to actually come back to you. One topic we have not touched on is business models. From a TSO perspective, do you see challenges? Do you see opportunities? Are you excited about some of these opportunities, or do they keep you awake at night?
Maybe my view is a little bit different than from a lot of other companies, because as a TSO, we are a 100% regulated business. So we have a high certainty about what we can expect. And we see that there's sufficient liquidity in the market. So we started already years ago as one of the first ones to provide green investments for investors. And meanwhile, we are one of the 3 largest in Europe providing those. So, and we see there's a high interest. So the investors are looking for green investments, and in this sector, it's easy to provide exactly this kind of investments. So for us, this is not the main topic. It's rather about getting up to speed and get the acceptance in the public why we are doing this, because that is really the bottleneck for us and the main constraint.
Okay, thanks for that. And I think I'd like to continue on that topic, maybe to Yunishino-san. Japan is really an interesting market. Renewables are growing rapidly there, and really the technology development and how the consumer market, the prosumer market is evolving. What are some of the key business models that you think you see in Japan and also other parts of the world that you think will be key enablers for our growth in Hitachi ABB Power Grids?
Yes, Maxine, thank you very much. So today's discussion, till now, the major discussion, the interconnector and also the TSO business. But so the Hitachi ABB Power Grid understand the beyond. Now, one of the example, the industry sector, we can understand what's the kind of the value we can provide for the industry sector related to the energy. And so it is very important for we can understand both the utility and simultaneously the consuming side. But it is very important to integrate the consumers, the benefit, consuming side benefit, and now the operators benefit. And we can integrate those kind of the benefit to the solution by using some of the nice understanding the business inside. So the Maxine, so I remember I have already talked with this kind of the issue. They understand that the customer's business issue and the business model is very important, and simultaneously we can provide precisely the nice value for the customer. So the answer for your question is the Japan is a very interesting market. The consuming side is have their own opinion and seeking their own benefit. Now, so we can understand strongly what is the customer's true benefit and what is the operator's true benefit. We can integrate those as a system. This is today's the Hitachi ABB Power Grid, the source of the strengths. And this is because we have the very sophisticated technology and the products, and now also we employ such kind of the sophisticated one to the system. The answer for your question is the understanding that the customer and also the customers benefit is the key for the success of the business.
Thank you, Nishino-san. Clearly very, very important to keep the customers at the forefront of all of our discussions. So we've talked about a lot of different topics. I think we've pretty much touched on everything that I mentioned at the very beginning of the session. So I'd like to come back to you, Gerhard. You hear all of this and the discussions that we've had. Your perspective, what gets you excited? Why are you excited to be where you are today and what we're doing today?
Yeah, I just gave one aspect already 5 minutes ago. To be now and to hear this heartbeat an hour ago and to be in the center of this energy transition, this is unbelievable. And but all this, what we do in terms of innovation to drive in order to execute the projects in the field with our customers, there is nothing happening without the people. And that's why we are putting really the team and the people today in this event really in the center. It's more than deserved. And I would really like to use this minute now to acknowledge some of our teams and our people who have been doing an outstanding job in the last year and continue to do so. When I think about just what we developed and brought to the market in terms of super compact transformers, dry transformers without oil, enabling then the electrification of trains by new transformers for electromobility, or trains in this case, then also for special transformers for solar and wind. It was also mentioned before for the floating offshore platforms. That's unbelievable how here deep technology competence together with then the changes in the markets and the developments with our customers in the projects can really create value. I go to the next example, sustainability thinking and the development of our high voltage Econic portfolio in the live tank breakers, in the dead tank breakers, in the PAS, in the GIS switchgear. Our teams don't just take the approach to exchange a gas. They take a holistic picture on how can I optimize the total switchgear from a sustainability perspective and really optimize it for the maximum customer value. And here we are building, of course, on a lot of experience, but also on a lot of very fresh and new R&D and total organizational competence. We are going to the system business, the small systems, like the microgrids. Porto Santo, for example, the island, fantastic for making the next step in those small islands. But then we have seen also the video on the largest, most powerful system of the world, the Changchi-Guquan line, more than 3,000 kilometers, 12 gigawatt, unbelievable. We are part of the Shanghai first HVDC system. We are part of we are behind the first HVDC multi-terminal in Northeast Agra, India. We are connecting the largest wind farm in the world with the Dogger Bank. You can hear my excitement, yeah? And then I can really continue with that. The NordLink was mentioned. And then I want to come to one very special underlying topic again, which is the digitalization. And here, some years ago, we would have been sitting here and saying, what is digitalization? And probably most of the participants would have said, yeah, we digitize a transformer, we connect it, we make a communication, and we make it secure. Digitalization is evolving to become a transformational change into all the stakeholders and companies, and not just a connection of digital products. It goes as a transformation through the companies, through our companies, but also to our customers and partners, from the planning to the building to the operation to the maintenance. A collaboration approach, and we are closing the loop to the partnership and collaboration throughout the total life cycle, transforming really the way how we work and utilizing most modern technologies always in a flexible way to take up the next step. And that's what we need to accelerate this energy transition. And that, as you can probably feel and see, is something which is so exciting for me. And we are simply at the right point in time, in the right place.
Thanks, Gerhard. As I'm listening to you and watching you, I see on video Nishino-san and Tim are both also smiling. So I think the excitement is not just with you, but I think with everyone involved. Tim, anything to add to that from your perspective, just watching the expression on your face?
Yeah, I could easily, of course, repeat everything that Gerhard mentioned, but maybe also to come back to my very first statement in the beginning. I think the climate change is the biggest challenge we have ever seen as a society. And if we want to leave a really good place for our children, then we have to be successful in the energy transition. And that is what is exciting me every day about this challenge. And yeah, that I can influence it and have an impact, that is really motivating me.
Great. Thank you so much, Tim. Much appreciated. Look, we're coming to the end of our session. I just wanted to take a moment to summarize. The topic of sustainable energy future is vast, and we could spend hours upon hours to really talk about this. Very exciting topic indeed as well. I think my takeaways are that we all know our energy world is changing, complexity is increasing, capacity is increasing, and in order to also manage the dynamics that we're seeing in our network is to ensure that we have digital and energy platforms as our foundation. So those are key components there. Cross-regional grid interconnections, energy exchange across time and climate zones is really, really important as well. And we've already seen some successful examples of that as Tim has shared. And the other topic is stakeholders. We need all stakeholders, private sector, public sector, different companies coming together, different organizations coming together to make this a reality. And it's also about technology and people, as it was also mentioned. So, and I think one thing definitely everyone has hit on this is that you can no longer be successful in a silo. You have to cross the silo barriers in order to be successful. So all very, very important messages, and I'm very excited that to have had all of you here. Now, I want to thank the panelists, Tim, Nishino-san, and Gerhard very much. To all of our colleagues, if you really enjoyed the perspectives, you'd like to learn more about what we were talking about today, but also some other very, very interesting topics. It just so happened today we had also the second edition of our perspective published on the website. So please take a look, and I think you will enjoy that quite very much. So thank you again to the panelists. And now what I would like to do is to actually introduce and welcome our next speaker, who's joining us also remotely, Ms. Lara Cozy. She's the Chief Energy Modeler at International Energy Agency, where she oversees the agency's work on outlooks and forecasts and overall modeling work. Welcome, Lara. Lara is also the head of Demand Outlook Division, which produces a report that I think many of us are familiar with, and that's the annual World Energy Outlook. In fact, she also oversaw the publication of IEA's Net Zero by 2050, which was already mentioned earlier during our sessions. So Lara, welcome, and turning it over to you. Please give us your perspective and thoughts.
Good afternoon to all of you, and let me start with a happy birthday. So it's great to join you today. I still remember when last year our executive director, Dr. Birol, joined all of you and Mr. Fakin for the launch of this wonderful new adventure. So I'm very happy to share with you our latest analysis, which is the net zero by 2050. Why did we do so? I think you mentioned this earlier in the panel already. If we want to limit temperature increase below 1.5 degrees, the energy sector, which accounts for 70% of emissions, needs to get to zero emissions by 2050. So let me turn to the presentation. What are our key findings here? First of all, we find something which is very much in the tone of the preceding panel, gives a lot of hope. We think that the road ahead of us to reach net zero by 2050 is narrow, but is achievable. Why do we say achievable? You can see here, actually, all the technologies we need to meet the emission reductions needed in the next 10 years are here with us today. In most cases, they're cheaper than the alternative. We start with rushing ahead with decarbonizing the electricity sector. Mostly with renewables, they are cheap already, available on the market. Solar and wind would need to quadruple over the next 10 years to achieve net zero by 2050. As the electricity sector becomes cleaner, in fact, it reaches net zero by 2040, 10 years ahead of the global economy. Electrifying our societies becomes a key instrument to get to zero emissions. So here you see, for example, how huge a boom of electric cars we would need to see. At the beginning of this year, first quarter, we saw a record sale of 6% of EVs in the overall car market. This would need to grow to 60% by 2030. Is it achievable? Actually, if you look at the pipeline of projects from car manufacturers around the world, we are already nearly half of that level. Cars is one example. Heat pumps would be another example, which would see a booming market. So as we push electrification, what happens? Our economy becomes much more energy productive. We need less energy to generate more GDP, and we push more efficiency as well. For example, by 2025, we would only sell LED in terms of light bulbs, the most efficient form of lighting we know nowadays. And by 2030, we would also need to see, we heard just in this panel, buildings becoming digital and retrofitted and smart. How many of those buildings by 2030? 1 in 5. So it's a huge investment opportunity, but also a huge policy obstacle. So you see here, we have a bouquet of technology. We know all of them. We know the policy solutions. What do we need is really investment. Let me come to the investment angle here. To get to net zero by 2050, we need to triple investment in clean energy. Here you see the breakdown. Clearly electricity generation, not a surprise given the numbers I've shown earlier. Infrastructure, grids at the center, but not only grids. For example, ports for hydrogen, starting building some of the CCUS that would be needed later on, and also end uses. What is these end uses? Is electrifying our buildings even more, making them digital, is buying the electric vehicles, is doing the energy efficiency investments. Analysis that we have done with the International Monetary Fund actually shows that if we were able to mobilize this amount of investment, I say if because if you look at history, actually this is around twice as much what the energy sector has been able to attract in its best year. But if we were able to do so, then our economy would benefit. Globally, we are seeing that each year we would grow an additional 0.4% more than in the baseline. This, especially in this period post-COVID, is essential and critically important. So the route towards net zero, the route towards decarbonization is also a route towards getting out of the pandemic and the crisis. In terms of the economy and also in terms of jobs, which I will show in a second. If I go a bit deeper in the business of the grids, this previous slide, you've seen how much energy infrastructure is essential to enable this transition. What you can see here is the sheer amount of new investment that we would need to see going into grids. So it's a tripling also for grids investment. For the past few years, you have heard very consistently us telling that we saw investment in grids a bit stagnating. We will need to see those actually jumping very much. Why do we need grids investment? I don't need to tell to all of you, it's your business nearly on a daily basis, but we see three main areas. Clearly, the fact that we electrify the global economy even more, so the increase in electricity demand is a major driver, but there are two other major drivers, the integration of variable renewables, as well as replacement of aging infrastructure. I would pause 1 second on this slide to also highlight the importance of the grids to ensure energy security going forward. At the IEA, we are really making a bit of a Copernican revolution, if you allow me to say. Up to now, we were very much focused when we were talking about energy security on oil and gas. Now, for us, it's very clear that electricity being the backbone of modern societies, electricity security becomes an incredible essential pillar. The moment you have blackouts, the economy suffers, our daily life suffers, our digital life suffers. What you're seeing now, for example, in Canada, United States, in terms of heat waves, having resilient energy systems very much relies on robust and resilient grids. So they are really becoming the centerpiece, not only of the clean energy transition, but also of a secure and modern societies. If we look at what would happen to jobs, so currently we have around 40 million people globally working in energy supply. And if we mobilize this amount of clean energy investment over the next decade, we would be able to generate an additional 14 million jobs. As you can see there, the electricity sector, capacity, grids is going to be really at the center of this boom. However, we need to highlight that there are potential losses. Where are those potential losses? Concentrated in fossil fuel production. In particular, I would highlight the potential losses in coal. This for us is critically important issues, to the point that our executive director has instituted a commission that is chaired by Prime Minister of Ms. Mette. The reason being that we need to ensure that these 5 million job losses, potential job losses, are actually minimized. Regions, communities that are fully reliant on coal today, they cannot be left alone. So any clean energy transition where the use of coal or the use of fossil fuels will see a decline needs to work hands in hands with the communities that may be suffering. There are ways to look into potential mitigation measures, including actually making sure that those workers benefit from the job booms. A lot of the skills that are currently in the mining industry could be used in critical minerals. You all know how essential critical minerals are for grids. Normal metals and minerals such as copper will see booms in the next few years, but also lithium, cobalt, and others. So these very skills could be transferred to tap the clean energy transition. So an area that we are working on very closely, including on the skills level, which in some areas is seeing some mismatches. We will need more highly skilled workers than actually the ones we are preparing in our pipelines. So, of course, the world will not finish in 2030. We need to move ahead the transition post-2030. And the story post-2030 looks a bit different than the one that we have seen up to now. The story up to 2030 is a story, let me tell you, about two things: deployment and investment. Post-2030, what we really need is, in one word, innovation. We currently don't have all the technologies in the market yet that we would need to make decarbonization of what we call the hard-to-abate sectors. As you can see here in our analysis, we showed that 46% of the technologies we would need to get to net zero are currently under development. There are a few of those technologies that we consider essential. Hydrogen and hydrogen-based fuels are really extremely promising, but we still need to work quite hard to deploy the technologies and put hydrogen, green hydrogen, whatever color you want from hydrogen, but in the markets. Other areas where we see really very important in any type of clean energy future we analyzed is advanced batteries. And third pillar that I would like to mention is direct air capture. Together with those three main technology areas, as you can see here, there is really a cloud of technologies that would need to be deployed and developed. Currently, when we look at clean energy R&D, we are far away from the level that we would need to see invested to make sure that we have those technologies in the markets ready to be deployed massively post 2030. I would like to conclude with a slide that really tells a bit the story of this scenario, a scenario which we call a roadmap. Is a global roadmap, is not the roadmap. Of course, there would be other ways to get to net zero. Every country will have to fit themselves with their own specific financial conditions, market preferences, consumer preference, behavior changes, and also this global roadmap is an indication every country will have their own path to follow. However, having said this, one important message here is that getting to net zero by 2050 requires action tomorrow. So what we have done is actually identify over 400 milestones. Here I give you just a bit of a flavor of it. They are mostly milestones that relate to the way we use and consume energy. You have heard the rise in heat pumps, the rise in electric vehicles, the rise in LEDs, the change in buildings, the change in the public transport systems, etc. So all of those actually will need to be met if we want to reach this important end goal, which is zero emissions. Here we were just highlighting a few of them just to give a sense of how challenging getting to this goal is. Hydrogen, a huge amount of increase over the next decade, a booming industry, all together with electrification, which is really the other one that we are mentioning in 2040 and 2050, with the electricity sector getting and speeding to zero first, and by 2050, being powered by 70% of solar and wind. Certainly a very exciting journey for all of us at the IEA, the energy industries, the governments. We are undertaking currently under the leadership and request of the UK COP presidency, a study that will look in depth at the electricity sector, and in particular the electricity sector getting to net zero in G7 countries, and look forward to have an opportunity to discuss that with all of you soon. I will conclude again with my warmest congratulations to happy birthday for this landmark year. Thank you very much for having the IEA with you today. Thank you.
Laura, before you leave us, thank you so much. It was very specific, very detailed. We know that there are thousands of hours behind this. What I really take away here is also that you highlighted, rightly so, beyond technology, we also need to focus on energy efficiency. We also need to focus on behavioral. And there is a very important point that you made throughout all the studies, that we have to also address the existing infrastructure. Otherwise, no matter what we do in the new infrastructure, it will not be enough. So thank you so much for joining us. I know that your time was very compressed, but look forward to continue the journey together, and pleased to be part of what you mentioned, the Copernican revolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So let me now try to summarize, and I hope that you're all more optimistic hearing particularly the panel session and Laura on how our customers see the journey in front of us. And I liked a couple of points that Tim mentioned when it comes to the collaboration. He also was very clear that he's not too concerned about technology. Of course, he wants us, technology providers, to continue to invest in technology, but he's also challenging us. What can we do more collaborating, partnering with the customers, partnering with other stakeholders? He also clearly mentioned technology on one side, but also make sure that you create technology that can be shared, interoperability on our platforms, whether it's with the HVDC or with microgrids, being able to communicate as we digitalize our products, transformers that communicate not only with our portfolio, with our offering, but also with that of our customers and of our competitors. And why is that is essential? I think also very clear, made by all the panelists. It's the speed, it's the urgency that we need to have to achieve net zero. Gerard mentioned it very clear. It's about tomorrow, it's about 21, 25, 2030. If we miss our milestones in the next 5 to 10 years, we will not be able to recover and meet carbon neutrality in 2050. And as I just also mentioned with Laura, Nishino-san made a very important point. For us to be able to reach those targets, we also have to work harder and harder on energy efficiency, and that means a lot of also our behaviors. Nishino-san mentioned, it's also very well known that Japan, as a society, as industry, have made tremendous progress in energy efficiency in order to reduce the consumption, to be able to compensate on carbon emissions. And that's something that we, Hitachi Energy, are extremely well positioned going forward to cross-fertilize not only from a technology standpoint, but also looking at through digitalization, but also through behavior, how can we support all the stakeholders, the whole society going through this tremendous challenge, which I see as a tremendous opportunity going forward. So before we close, and before I hand over to Therese for the next session, a big thank you once again to everyone. A big thank you to the team in Tokyo, Peter, of course, joining from Singapore, the team here in Zurich. I don't know if any of you had the chance to see the audience, but we have most of our executive team. We have Frank, we have the Hitachi team based in Zurich. A big thank you to the tremendous work done also by everyone that has contributed day and night to prepare this event, that once again, from a digital perspective, went absolutely seamless. So great, well done, excellent job. Let's make sure that we continue while we look forward to have more of these events also physically, to meet each other, to share views, spend time together, that we also take the learnings. Because this type of gathering is a unique opportunity for us to continue sharing those learnings, coming from Japan, from Europe, from our customers, our partners, and our teams across the globe. With that, once again, a huge thank you to everyone, and hand over to Therese to close this and go to the next stage of our event. Thank you, Therese, and thank you all.
Thank you, Claudio, and thank you everyone who is with us around the globe. We are now going to take a small break, 10 minutes, and then we'll meet back again. And this is your chance in the last session of this virtual event to then ask questions. We'll have a Slido set up where you can then go to this hashtag and ask the questions that you might have many of by this point. So get ready, but first of all, a break, 10 minutes. See you back soon again.
It covers you in light when you come home. It prepares your meals and charges your appliances. Electricity, the backbone of our life. Before reaching our homes, electricity sometimes travels thousands of kilometers through the high voltage network. Sometimes we can see it, sometimes we can't. The high voltage network is like the veins supplying us with the electricity that we need, and therefore must be safeguarded. For over 2 centuries, our technologies have been securing safe and reliable electricity for billions of people around the globe. We have the responsibility to fulfill the need for more electricity while preserving the environment for our next generations. Now we're taking an iconic journey towards a carbon-neutral energy future. Econic, our high-voltage, eco-efficient portfolio. With no sulfur hexafluoride, SF6, it reduces carbon footprint by more than 50% throughout the total life cycle. We are lowering our environmental impact every step of the way and accelerating eco-efficient innovation. We are playing our part in the energy transition, and we do it the only way we know. Continuing to push the boundaries of technology to solve environmental challenges, together with our customers and partners. We are in the forefront of innovation, accelerating the transition towards a carbon-neutral energy future.
I remember when I was a kid, and I received this electronic lab box as a gift. Also being able to join in my father's various engineering projects has been really inspiring and something that affected my choice of career. I'm a very curious person that often ends up studying the details to know how things work. I was working as a control engineer for the Contiscan upgrade project. Contiscan is a connection using sea cables for high voltage direct current, stretching from Gothenburg in Sweden to Aalborg in Denmark. The interconnection had 2 independently operated links built at different times, using different vendors with different generations of technology. I try to understand the root cause of the problem on my own, which often gives me an increased knowledge in that specific area. I believe the most efficient way of solving problems is to make it a teamwork.
In 2015, we were asked to upgrade and improve the functionality of the control and protection system for the Contiscan link. When I was shown the plan for the upgrades, I realized 2 things. Firstly, it will be a major technical challenge, but will also enable the grid of the future with a higher degree of integration of renewables, especially wind power. The interconnection supports the fast-changing need of both grids, and it enables the operators to maximize the reliability and cross-border power flows.
The MAC control and protection system will extend the lifespan of the HVDC link and further enhance power availability and efficiency through advanced digitalization.
This is the first time a vendor has upgraded a control and protection system for a bipole, integrating the technology from 2 different suppliers. What we have done is something no one other in the world is able to do. I believe that we are making a difference for generations.
This upgraded interconnection will contribute with a greener energy supply for a sustainable society. When thinking about it, it's a really cool job that I have.
Planet Earth, our home. In the next 30 years, we will share it with 2 billion more people. Together, we will consume more than double the electricity we do today. We are committed to the UN's Sustainable Development Goals because they protect our planet. And through our own Sustainability Strategy 2030, we are contributing to progress. Planet, people, peace, partnerships. By 2030, we will achieve carbon neutrality in our own operations. We are working to reduce carbon emissions by 50% along the value chain and reducing waste, along with our consumption of precious resources like water. Sustainability is all about people. We foster an inclusive culture and enable all our employees to thrive and give their best. We encourage lifelong learning and believe that diversity and collaboration equal great innovation. We call this Diversity 360. We promote peaceful, inclusive, and sustainable societies. Everything we do is based on safety, integrity, and quality, our license to operate. Together with customers and partners, we are creating innovative technologies, building a flexible, resilient, reliable, and sustainable energy system. We are accelerating the energy transition. By 2050, green electricity will be the backbone of the entire energy system. It will support every aspect of our daily lives. Let's build a sustainable energy future together for our generation and those to come.
Several industries have been transformed by the power of digitalization, unlocking vast value for society. In the power sector, many utilities have been early adopters of digital technologies, but these were implemented mostly in a fragmented and isolated way. A recent report from the IEA highlights that the energy sector is today at the cusp of a digital revolution based on advancing technology, falling costs, and ubiquitous connectivity. To unlock the potential of the digital grid, we have developed T-Expert, an open, scalable manufacturer-agnostic ecosystem for digitalization of transformers. It consists of products, software, services, and solutions, complying with stringent cybersecurity standards. These work perfectly together and have the capability to integrate with new and existing equipment from other manufacturers. A T-Expert-enabled transformer can be augmented with digital APM solutions, asset performance management software that can be used for individual units or large fleets of transformers. Scalable in design, the T-Expert ecosystem offers simple steps to digitalize transformers. It provides transformers access to knowledge and intelligence we have derived from designing and servicing thousands of transformers across the globe for well over a century. Delivering data-driven insights to reduce costs, optimize operations, extend life expectancy, and enhance environmental performance. For example, the top 3 locations of fault in transformers are its windings, tap changes, and bushings, and the T-Expert ecosystem provides options to mitigate all of these, saving millions of dollars in repairs and settlement costs. Partner with us on your digital journey for transforming performance and enabling a sustainable energy future.
It covers you in light when you come home. It prepares your meals and charges your appliances. Electricity, the backbone of our life. Before reaching our homes, electricity sometimes travels thousands of kilometers through the high voltage network. Sometimes we can see it, sometimes we can't. The high voltage network is like the veins, supplying us with the electricity that we need, and therefore must be safeguarded. For over 2 centuries, our technologies have been securing safe and reliable electricity for billions of people around the globe. We have the responsibility to fulfill the need for more electricity while preserving the environment for our next generations. Now we're taking an iconic journey towards a carbon-neutral energy future. Econic, our high-voltage, eco-efficient portfolio. With no sulfur hexafluoride, SF6, it reduces carbon footprint by more than 50% throughout the total life cycle. We are lowering our environmental impact every step of the way and accelerating eco-efficient innovation. We are playing our part in the energy transition, and we do it the only way we know. Continuing to push the boundaries of technology to solve environmental challenges, together with our customers and partners. We are in the forefront of innovation, accelerating the transition towards a carbon-neutral energy future.
I remember when I was a kid and I received this electronic lab box as a gift. Also being able to join in my father's various engineering projects has been really inspiring and something that affected my choice of career. I'm a very curious person that often ends up studying the details to know how things work. I was working as a control engineer for the Contiscan upgrade project. Contiscan is a connection using sea cables for high voltage direct current, stretching from Gothenburg in Sweden to Aalborg in Denmark. The interconnection had two independently operated links built at different times, using different vendors with different generations of technology. I try to understand the root cause of the problem on my own, which often gives me an increased knowledge in that specific area. I believe the most efficient way of solving problems is to make it a teamwork.
In 2015, we were asked to upgrade and improve the functionality of the control and protection system for the Contiscan link. When I was shown the plan for the upgrades, I realized two things. Firstly, it will be a major technical challenge, but will also enable the grid of the future with a higher degree of integration of renewables, especially wind power. The interconnection supports the fast-changing need of both grids, and it enables the operators to maximize the reliability and cross-border power flows.
The MAC control and protection system will extend the lifespan of the HVDC link and further enhance power availability and efficiency through advanced digitalization.
This is the first time a vendor has upgraded a control and protection system for a bipole, integrating the technology from two different suppliers. What we have done is something no one other in the world is able to do. I believe that we are making a difference for generations.
This upgraded interconnection will contribute with a greener energy supply for a sustainable society. When thinking about it, it's a really cool job that I have.
Remember these faces? They are our people, extraordinary people, determined, passionate, committed, caring. They've shared their inspiring stories of resilience.
Welcome back. Great to see you here in the studio, and I know that I've heard from my colleagues that you're also very, very enthusiastic around the globe, and you're excited to hear all these things that we have to share today. And now is your moment to ask questions, and you will see the Slido code for the Slido session we have for today, so please put in the questions that you might have. And the question was, we can't answer today in the global session. We have all our regional leaders and country managing directors that will host various events as well with the teams locally. But hashtag 230722, that's what you should be using. With that, let me hand over to Claudio.
Thank you, Therese, and welcome back to everyone. And now it's, I would say, among ourselves. This is the all employee call, where we will have a bit of a different approach this time. We have shared a year ago perspectives from Hitachi ABB Power Grids side, and also having our chairman Nishino-san sharing his views. So this time I will be very brief on my few thoughts, then hand over to Nishino-san for his thoughts on the way forward. Get ready to also contribute with your views, with your questions. We will have time for that. But we will also ask three different talents in our team: country, functions, business, to share in a few minutes their view on how we can contribute to the sustainable energy future. As we mentioned, together with our customers and partners, we will be able to solve the challenge of delivering this sustainable future. And we are right at the center of this energy transformation, electricity being the backbone of the energy system going forward. And we also heard during the day, and particularly in the panel session, that it will take industry leading experience, deep expertise, know-how, but also pioneering technology and combining, as Gerard said it very well, technology with people. And that people is the one that is bringing and will continue to bring passion, commitment, and energy. I will leave it at that. We heard a lot during the day, and want to now hand over to Nishino-san for his introduction. Nishino-san, over to you.
The slides. Yes, thank you, Mr. Teresa and Claudio. Yeah, so I'd like to review our journey, related to our journey. My essence or the message is very same as at the time one year ago, the day one. But I'd like to review and look back at our journey. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the very schematic view of our journey. But please understand all of the ABB and Hitachi and the past and the future is on the same page. So it means something like the same boat. But please understand the fusion. As I repeatedly mentioned, I respect very much the history of the PG's people and Hitachi's. They are very, very similar, as Peter Boza mentioned. There is many similarity, and we have also the identical point. We respect such kind of the diversity, and also I understand that such a diversity is very important to the source of the future growth, the fusion. And that fusion means the people's fusion and talent fusion and the chemistry fusion. And so I think it is a very important message. Please understand that there are two important messages including this chart. First one is all of it on the same page. And the second one is I respect very much every identical history and also the chemistry and culture, and proud. But combining such a very identical one to create a fusion, it's a very important source of the future growth. Next, please. Yeah, so I think this is already mentioned repeatedly in today's session. The market is very, very following, and we have many business opportunities. Our group had a very sophisticated T&D technologies and energy management, and also the Hitachi group had also the wind turbine and the solar business, and also we have the nuclear related businesses. it is a very important the coverage. So I think it is a very, very nice the qualification. They are called our company name Hitachi Energy. Next, please. So, as today is the first part of the session, the Higashihara mentioned that we are very sticking on the value proposition for the customer on a society, environment, resilience, and secure and safety. And those are very fundamental, the outcome. The people's and the society expected very much such kind of outcome from the company, the business through the business opportunities. But very remarkable, a unique point is we must be very nice products, and we can combine their OT and IT with their Lumada, their digital platform. Those are very important, the driving force and also the enabler, I believe, to provide those values to the society and customer. Next, please. So today is my message. Please take away my message for everybody. First of all, I'd like to thanks again everybody's effort through in such kind of the COVID not easy situation. Continue the business, continue the customer service, continue the R&D and the many variety of the effort. I very appreciate and I thanks everybody. And first the message is the same as the day one. Accelerate talent, people, and culture fusion. Not to the please not understand the very standardized and unified something. No, fusion. My expectation is fusion. Second one is the next growth. Yeah, so today's session is today everybody mentioned the market is very following, and so we must go toward the next challenge for the growth. Third one is the value proposition for the customer or society. Digital and service with very smart and sophisticated products and systems. And this is our very unique point. But again, I'd like to repeat, fusion, growth, and value. Those three keywords, please take note and take away. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nishino-san. And it's always great to hear, and you were very specific in your message there, so we appreciate those words and that perspective. We are now going to move next and move not too far away from Japan, but to Singapore. So we have Nirupa Chander, who is the country managing director, and she's based out of Singapore. She's country managing director for Singapore. So Nirupa, thank you for being with us today, and thank you for sharing your perspective, one of three that will share their perspective.
Thanks a lot, Therese, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow colleagues and friends. Thanks again for this opportunity. 1st of July 2020 was a momentous occasion in our lives. I remember feeling curious and hopeful about the future, but in the backdrop was the unprecedented global pandemic. All of us in some way or another have been impacted. But the last year was also fundamental in shaping our new identity. Our dynamic team in Singapore also reached several milestones in this 1 year. We grew our business by serving new customers and segments and reinforced our market leadership. We unlocked opportunities in offshore wind, data centers, energy storage, software. But I suppose it was the lockdown measures that really highlighted the critical role we play in keeping the country running. Our service teams kept the lights on, the water pumping, hospitals operational. Our project teams delivered on our commitments to our customers despite the restrictions, all the while keeping themselves, our partners, and customers safe. And all of this was possible with phenomenal team effort and living our new values of harmony, sincerity, and pioneering spirit. What I also reflected, and that has been reiterated today quite extensively as well, is that over the last year, it became evident that the world's energy and climate future depends on a concerted effort across multiple stakeholders: government, policymakers, academia, industry. So for us, as the technology provider, we need to be leading the conversations. In Singapore, we had our very own success stories. We were selected to provide critical technology to Singapore's first virtual power plant application. This is a project that exemplified stakeholder collaboration with academia and government bodies. Another government priority project from the Singapore's Prime Minister's office was the development of solid-state transformer technology, a key enabler of future bidirectional and flexible grids. And we teamed up with the renowned university, NTU. But while it's very satisfying to reflect on the victories of our past, what makes me super excited is the possibilities in the future. Not too long from now, an interconnected power grid in ASEAN will become a reality. A fully decarbonized public transport system will be plying through Singapore. Renewables will form a major part of the energy generation mix. And our hardware and software technology and capability is at the center of these megatrends. And today, of course, marks another significant milestone in our transformation and evolution as we become Hitachi Energy. And with this new identity, I am certain we will forge new paths. So let's all come together to power good for a sustainable energy future, and in the process, solve the biggest challenges of our time. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Nirupa, and great to hear your view and your perspective. And we're going to move on to hear another perspective. And now I have Stephanie Ratzel with me here, Head of Talent and Learning. And you also have new views of the world that you're going to share with everyone here today. So please go ahead, Stephanie.
Thank you very much, Therese, and thanks a lot for the opportunity. What really drives me is working with purpose. Being at the forefront of the energy transition is all about people. It's people who connect people with energy, and it is people who provide electricity to communities. We all want a planet that we can live in today with our families, with our friends, but also for the next generations to come. It's super important to me personally. And I can have an impact and shape this world we want to live in here at Hitachi Energy. And I'm extremely happy working on attracting, retaining, and developing talents. This is what gives me energy. We think big. In this company, we heard about it earlier, but everything we do, the mega projects around the globe, in 90 countries we're operating in, building this standalone over the last 12 months was exciting and challenging. And everything we do is with a true global mindset. We do it with the global mindset, and yet we are connected locally and act locally and stay close to our communities. For me, that means being in the Swiss Alps, for example. Did you know that only our career page has 500,000 views a month? So our reach is really, really big. My team spreads all the way from China to Middle East, Africa, India, Southeast Asia, Europe, to the Americas. Never have we been so geographically apart. Never have I felt so connected to a group of people where half of them I haven't even met yet in person. It's Diversity 360, the umbrella that really helps us drive the sense of belonging, and we need to strengthen this even going further. And it is all of us coming together in this company, having the big opportunities to learn and continuously grow from each other and with each other. So diversity and collaboration brings us greater innovation. We heard about that earlier. And I'm personally extremely proud as an HR professional being able to bring in a perspective, a different perspective in a group of engineers, for example, being able to help others see blind spots, and being able to learn about my own blind spots every day by the people that surround me. It's not always easy. It requires a lot of energy, but it is what makes us stronger and super resilient as a team. It is the secret sauce for me and our unique selling proposition as a company to really thrive forward. And for this, and we heard about the big challenges ahead of us, though the opportunities are so much bigger, and it needs all of us. It needs the accountant in the service center, it needs the R&D engineer, the procurement manager, or the field service technician. It also needs the future talent. We don't even know what he or she will bring to the table. It needs all of us to move forward and strive for our journey. And I'm personally extremely excited because when connecting people to each other is when the energy starts to flow for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. And energy, that's what it's all about. Now, we are going to move next to the US, and you're going to hear for sure more about energy. And in the US, we have Uday Barrow. Uday, you're head of the energy portfolio management, and also this is within the enterprise software business. And maybe some of you are not familiar with this business, but I know, Uday, you will tell us more, and you'll tell us a new, fresh perspective around energy. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Therese. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm glad to be with you. Hello to everyone. Today I want to introduce our group, how we are helping our customers on the sustainability goals or their sustainability goals with our software products. End of last year, we acquired Pioneer Solutions company with its award-winning energy trading software platform with very strong support for environmental, compliance and trading. And with that, we have a very comprehensive, offering today. Our solutions on the two sides, if we look at the planning side, utilities, planners, regulators use our market intelligence, market data, combined with our capacity expansion on renewable projects, transmission planning to make project decisions. On the commercial operation side, we have a very robust energy trading and risk management platform. I'm going to use, for example, an Excel Energy, my utility here in Denver, as an example, and the challenge they face, for example. They don't use all of our software, but they are our customer today. They have, they provide energy in 10 states. They have obviously different mix of generation fleets, conventional and non-conventional renewable energy. They have a lot of, complex purchase power agreements. And so, forecasting, being able to forecast the demands, being able to forecast the generation of these renewable assets, being able to run economic dispatch, what units am I going to offer in the market? What price am I going to offer in the market? And then, having that one, platform to basically manage all commodities, power, gas, LNG, coal, and, manage risks is a very challenging. And on top of that, they have emission goals, target goals, they have renewable energy targets goals, and we have software for them to, or a customer like that, to account for emissions, create your balance sheet. Where am I emitting? How do I calculate that? Very similar to our own Sustainability 2000 goal that our company has. So we can help our customers basically model all their sources, all their sinks, renewable offsets, renewable projects, and manage these emissions, instruments and renewable energy credit instruments that are actually tradable. They are very fungible. They are very tradable, and these emissions and renewable energy credits are really integral part of energy, management these days. And we have a very comprehensive product I'm very excited that we're able to help our customers. And with energy transition means we have to have better models to forecast generations. We have to provide timely information because short-term trading is very important. That's what they use to balance the market. And most importantly, integration with the market for real-time information. Thank you.
I missed the introduction, so I was wondering.
Thank you,
Yes,
Dai. It's great to hear these different perspectives, and we are now ready to move into the next section of this employee webcast, and this is where we have already got quite a lot of questions that have been coming through. We will have Claudio with us here, we have Nishino-san online, and of course, not to forget that we have management team members with us here in the studio, but also management team members with us around the world. So we will see what we have coming up through the queue, and we will get right into it. And there's a lot coming in related to the topic of Hitachi Energy. And this is also what we expected. The very first question that we have, which is really getting a lot of votes here, so let's address it. With the name change to Hitachi Energy, will our email also change to hitachienergy.com? Or is this currently the one we have, hitachipowergrids.com? So that's a main topic here coming through in the Q&A. And
that's an easy one.
Yes, isn't it? You would think it's easy, but actually it could be typed in different ways. And with the current phishing attacks that we are having, the phishing attackers are quite smart. So they attack by typing in different ways. So you will get the specific. We're going to make it easy. We're going to be hitachienergy.com, and that's it. No dashes, no dots, simple, straightforward. Now, next,
Maybe you want to add by when, though?
Well, that's a very good question, Claudio. And Claudio,
otherwise, Michael will start to.
Why don't we disclose that as well? And Michael, maybe you want to tell us more. You're right here. I don't see you, but I see, there you are. Thank you. We will have a microphone coming your way shortly as well.
So you said it already, the email address is going to be easy, and the target is that the email is going to change by early October. That's the plan.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Now, Hitachi Energy is here right in front of us. And another very popular one is, do we get a new logo for our Hitachi Energy brand? And when will the local entity's name change? When is that going to take place? When is that going to happen?
Therese, that's a question for you.
Well, it happens to be that in communications it's quite busy with the pandemic, with the company name change. There's a lot of things that sort of fall into the communications. I'm very, very happy that we have super talented colleagues that are already in the process of moving with the local entities name change process, and together with Doris, who is our head of branding, they're in full speed to already work through this. This will start from October. So October is the month to remember in terms of the legal entity name changes, in terms of the logo changes, in terms of these activities that will be visible externally. The press release is out today, but the other things will start from October 2021, and it will be at the time of the Hitachi Social Innovation Forum, which takes place in Tokyo, and that week is between October 11th till October 15th. Now, we will use the Hitachi brand, just to be very clear. The Hitachi logo is the logo we will use. There's not going to be anything else than that. But our company name is going to be reflected externally from October as Hitachi Energy. Now, if we look further, energy is a broad topic, Claudio and everyone else here. We know that. With Hitachi Energy, will it contain more parts in the future compared to what is in Power Grids today? Claudio, perhaps you want to start,
yep.
And then others to follow?
Very good question, and I will start and maybe then also ask Nishino-san to share some views. So of course, as we hopefully managed to convey some messages during the day, as it was maybe not so clear outside our community how important was the power grid part in this whole energy transition. It is also now clear and clear for us, as well as everyone out there, that we need to be able to work from how to generate in a clean manner the energy, how to transmit it, distribute it, and also how to best consume that energy. And it is clear that we are at the center of that. We're at the center of the electricity part of the whole energy space. But it is also clear that Hitachi has already some additional adjacencies, not just within the space of energy, but also if you look at what Hitachi is doing in order to contribute to society, as we were saying before, to, for instance, better consume, reduce consumption in technology that supports smart cities, buildings, and so on. Transportation, that's another area that Hitachi is present, and that we also have been investing, and you've seen some of those announcements also in the last 12 months, in helping electrification of transportation to be integrated in the electricity system. We're not in the transportation, we're not in the generation, but we have to expand our horizon. We have to expand in terms of technology, in terms of R&D, in terms of know-how, expertise, and again, not necessarily doing everything ourselves, but making sure, and we heard this a lot today, making sure that we do this collaborating, co-creating with customers and partners. Nishino-san.
Thank you very much. Yeah, your nice explanation. Yeah, almost you covered everything. But however, I will the other kind of the explanation is currently Hitachi's business domain is you mentioned the rail and building efficiency and the data center. So we have such kind of the activities beside energy. So but everybody expects the energy is very standard. They standardize the platform, just like today is digital. This is because the nice management and reduce the energy consumption and the greener is the most important the direction objective. So Hitachi they already decided the energy is a very important the infrastructure and the society, just like digital. So they are combining the energy and the digital. We can expand our coverage or the customers' the expectation more beyond the today's T&D and the utility. And I believe that today's HAPG covering beyond the utility more the industry sector and also the more consuming sector. The machines covering the beyond edge. And but our expectation is we must accelerate and combine the beyond the grid and the electricity. And sometimes the energy conversions, the electricity and hydrogen and ammonium is necessary today, but we must cover such areas. It is very important to accelerate the collaboration with customer. So I understand the name of the Hitachi Energy is very suitable, getting a nice understanding from the customer.
Thank you, Nishino-san.
Now, in that theme of energy, there's a related question. Is there any plan to invest in energy generation portfolio, more likely on green energy, like wind, turbines, solar, since we're going to move forward as Hitachi Energy?
That's a very good question, and I would say for now a very simple answer. Hitachi has launched or will launch Nishino-san, I think I can share that, the midterm plan, which is expected to be a work done between now and end of the fiscal year 2021. And as part of that, of course, as Hitachi, we will be looking at the overall strategy around energy. But I want to also make it clear that we have our core competence on connecting generation with consumption of electricity. That's where we will make the difference. That's where our heritage comes from. And we will, during 21, look at what can we do now jointly, being part of the Hitachi team that obviously has a much broader perspective.
Thank you, Claudio. And there's one question here, which is specifically to you from Michelle. Claudio, what opportunities do you see for our company under the new name?
That's a very important question. And I like the question, put it into the opportunities, because I was just sharing before with some of the team here in Zurich, that we tend to talk, because of also where we're coming from, pandemic and crisis and hardship for all of us, we tend to address everything now with what is the next challenge. I think hopefully by also positioning ourselves going forward as Hitachi Energy, we create more the environment and the understanding among us what is the next opportunity. And once again, if I look at also talking to customers during the last 12 months, there were questions around, we understand the role you're playing. We would like to better understand as you move forward what role you can play being part of Hitachi, continuing with the heritage from ABB, continuing with the support from ABB as part of the joint venture. But what else can you do for us, customers, to help us going through this transition, accelerating transition, joining with Hitachi? And I think that's the single largest opportunity on the short term that we use. We leverage this momentum as we did 12 months ago, communicating with enthusiasm and authenticity and passion. What would this joint venture do to support the customers? Then now we take this opportunity and we build the momentum between now and October and later on, so that we share more about what their concerns are and where are those opportunities to address jointly with them, and again, in collaboration with many partners that we have already today and that we will have going forward.
Thank you. And you mentioned one key word there, Claudio, transition. There's one question here from Natine Parek. What are the main positives and negatives during the last year, which was also transition period globally? And I'm sure we have different aspects of that. If we move across the globe, there are different views.
Here, maybe I take the opportunity, and it's a bit of a leading question, so thanks for that as well. And I would like Nishino-san also to comment on what the challenges and the opportunities, but also as I have here, we have the pleasure to have Frank. I want to also hear the ABB perspective on that. So I'll give you a short one and then hand over to Nishino for his point of view. From my side, there is no doubt that we had to go through unprecedented times. Many of us.
Okay. Then Nishino speaking. Thank you very much, Claudio. So I have one comment. This issue. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
So thank you very much. It's a very important and nice the question. I believe I can find there are many nice points, and not nice. Not nice. They are majorly come from the COVID, and also recently they increased the material pricing. But I can find the very nice the opportunity, and also the nice This is because, as I mentioned to you, the fusion. We understand that they're mutually deeply. And we have opportunity to learn mutually. The Hitachi learned the many things that ABB heritage, and also I believe ABB's people learn the Hitachi's history and also the business model typically is the quality issue. But anyway, so such a fusion or integration, not to the cultural integration, so the very identical to the maybe something that they are not to the add something, maybe the multiple like. The value creation, I believe already we have performed. And so I think such a diversity is very, very fantastic for me. And also such the differentiation for the other parties using such a the diversity is very valuable, we believe. And this is my opinion.
Thank you, Nishino-san. I just wanted to add one point to that. We all went through the hardship, and one challenge that we had was how to balance priorities, not only from a business standpoint, but also from our private life. We had many, unfortunately, in our teams that lost friends, that lost family members, and making sure that we as a team also support them going through this hard time. At the same time, that hardship that we saw, I was really impressed about the dedication and also the determination on how this team, the 40,000 people that we have out there, you all, manage to prioritize, as we decided jointly, protecting people and preserving business continuity. And the opportunity going forward is, we said many times, you heard it, and I know that we're maybe a bit behind plan there, so there are a lot of expectations about preparing for the new norm. And we're gonna work on that to make sure that we will leverage going forward all these learnings, the hard learnings, but also the good learnings from the past, and make them part of our better future. Frank, challenges and opportunities between ABB, Hitachi Energy in the future, and also Hitachi.
Yep, thank you. It's very good to be here. I think the first thing, of course, I would say that it was a good start up to the joint venture and the standalone. I think that went relatively smoothly, and I think there has been great cooperation and not too many lasting or difficult challenges to overcome which are blocking the relationship. I think that's really important. We shouldn't lose sight of that. I think clearly my personality is always to look at the opportunities, and I think that we've had a number of them outlined today. And I think while the new name Hitachi Energy, I think we shouldn't lose track and lose sight of that there is still a lot to be gained for all three parties, for Hitachi, Hitachi Energy, and ABB by continued collaboration. I think there's many areas that we have identified that can bring a lot of value to our customers, and thereby, I think, to all of both corporations and every part of the business. So we should continue to work together. Yes, there has been some hiccups along the way, but nothing too controversial that we cannot manage and move it forward. So I look forward to unlocking many more of the opportunities where co-creation, collaboration, cooperation, working together will bring many more opportunities for growth, and thereby supporting all of the businesses to be more successful. So I wish the business every success with the new name. We have a job to make sure that our customers see it to the future while connecting to the past, and really preserving that heritage that you have, and building on that with the heritage of Hitachi. And as Nishino says, bringing the fusion of two corporations together and the different cultures together to come out of it, to even be a stronger organization and to offer more to the customers than the competitors. I think that's got to be the goal. So I'm enjoying the drive and the ride here, and I look forward to contributing, continuing in the next year and many years to come, I hope.
Thank you, Frank. Do we still have time for...
So we're getting towards the end here, Claudio, so it would be great to move towards the conclusion, but you might have something that you would really want to share with us, so please go ahead.
Okay, so first, to close, you heard about or from Nirupa in Singapore, from Stephanie here with us, from an HR perspective, and Uday from a business perspective on the other side of the Atlantic. And I would say we were lucky because it was probably not planned that way. But if you look at the key messages from Nishino-san also on the slide, the key takeaways, starting with the fusion, the people aspect, creating something new, going into the growth aspects. Stephanie talked about the people, the growth opportunities with Nirupa from a country, looking at the collaboration, and then also how do we create value? How do we create value jointly with our customers? And great to see Uday part of our team and bringing in a new perspective on how we can generate value and how we can collaborate with customer from the very beginning in the planning phase, helping them in doing better planning for their energy management, for their energy consumption, and even to manage better the CO2 footprint, of course, which is something that we're all driving for. The messages that you all heard during the panel session, please make them yours. Make sure that, and I assume we will have videos, of course, that we will be able to review, to share with our teams out there. Make sure that you take the essence of those messages from Nishino-san, Japanese perspective, from Gerard, from a technology point of view, from our customers. Very clear, sharp messages on what they also expect as a technology provider to deliver. And create, again, the momentum with Hitachi Energy and engage with customers, engage with the partners, engage with the rest of the teams out there to, again, not only look at the challenges in front of us, but open up for new opportunities. With that, I would once again thank everyone for the great work done in the last 12 months. I would like to thank everyone within this team, but certainly also, and I know that you have done a lot of this also, thanking our partners, our customers, on dealing with this challenge and yet staying very close to the market, very close to the people, or even, I would say, in many instances, you show that you even did that in a stronger manner. The next steps. We are now preparing, and we have disclosed where we're heading so that we can then work openly, that everyone can contribute. We will get through this legal entity name changes. There were some questions around that. We will work on that. We will be providing documents. We will be providing training, information so that you all can work on the next steps between now and October. There is a lot that will be done, but even more important that we prepare ourselves for 2021, 22, 24, the midterm plan, and the next 10 years. With that, I would thank you, everyone, for your great contribution, and maybe having the last word to Nishino-san, our chairman.
Yeah, Claudio, thank you very much. Yeah. The same message, I'd like to send the same message to Claudio. So I thanks to everybody in the past the 12 months. And I believe they are such a nicely starting of their joint venture. So I'm very happy, and also our shareholders very happy. Yeah, so last week we have the annual shareholder meeting, but everybody understand our joint venture they are starting very nicely, and so it is owing to everybody, the people, so the HAPGs, employee and management. Right, thanks again, and also I'd like to ask you, and I know I just sent to message that I will they work hard to the future growth and the accelerate to the fusion. They work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claudio.
Over to you to close.
Yeah, it's absolutely great. And I would love to just end with a great applause for everyone who's been with us during this call and everyone virtually. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Remember these faces? They are our people, extraordinary people, determined, passionate, committed, caring. They've shared their inspiring stories of resilience, invention, team spirit, and energy. Each story shaping our story, one of diversity, collaboration, innovation, passion, and purpose. Our people are shaping the story of the energy transition, connecting across borders and time zones, bringing reliable and sustainable energy to megacities and to far-away communities, supporting mission-critical infrastructure with pioneering breakthroughs and world firsts, and creating game-changing solutions like Econic and transformers for floating offshore projects, electrifying transportation, industry, and building sectors, enabled by digitalization. Teaming up in sustainable partnerships, contributing insight and intelligence with heart and soul. It takes extraordinary people to solve this challenge of our lifetime. Today, we say thank you to all of our people. We're excited about the future and together making the stories that are yet to be told.